Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. My fan just scared Molly. She ran off. Okay, so as you can tell, well, first of all, welcome to the surprise pop-up video. I don't normally do them today. It's actually 10 to 9 in the UK PM, 10 to 9 PM in the UK, and I don't normally come on and do a pop-up on a Sunday. So welcome if you are joining me now. I'm going to go straight to the chat room because I want to see what people are saying. Of course I do. It's one of my favourite things about these live pop-ups. So of course, as you can tell by the title of this video, and I'm sure that you have seen because it has been a story, well, a piece of news that has been out since this morning in the UK. It is of course Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex's 55th birthday today. So, Your Royal Highness, I would like to wish you a very, very, very happy birthday, and you get a yellow celebratory birthday fan flap from me. So there you go. Happy birthday, Your Royal Highness. Many, 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 many happy returns. I hope you've had a really fabulous day, and of course, we are the 10th of March 2019. Now, Prince Edward, as we know, or you may not know, is the youngest son of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. So, there you go. They stopped at perfection, didn't they? 4 children, and they stopped at perfection, as they always say, for the youngest. So I just want to see what people are saying. Yes, hello to everyone who has made it. Jerry says, what tiara is this one that I'm wearing? It is one of the Queen's, well actually I think it is known as the Queen's favourite. It is the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. And if you look at the detail, it kind of looks like little girls holding hands. You see the head and the arms, and they're sort of linking arms in jewels. It's a really good replica. Of course, the Queen's is a little bit like more extended, the real one, but it is quite a good replica. So I thought I would wear this one today, seeing as 55 years ago today, the Queen had obviously given birth, which is a mighty, mighty effort for everyone. So it's just as much honouring the Queen, I think. People saying, I love the tiara. Well, thank you so much. It's kind of like, it's very spiky. I like spiky tiaras. So, the Queen, as a birthday present, what do you get a prince who has everything? Well, if you are the Queen, what about an extra earldom? I think that will do for a present. I would like to be, so I think I've moved the camera. I would like to be one of the Queen's children if she's going to be dishing out earldoms. Oh, okay, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit before we get into it. So first of all, some people may be wondering why Prince Edward, one of the Queen's children, is not a duke when, for example, her grandchildren, I'm talking William and Harry, have been made dukes. Well, the Dukedom of Edinburgh, Prince Philip's title, is actually reserved for Edward. So, in a nutshell, Edward is kind of waiting for that title to become vacant. I'm not casting aspersions. He is not trying to hurry the situation on, but he knows, and everyone knows, it was announced that that title is intended to go to Edward. So he will be a duke. So the royal family, upon his marriage to Sophie Rhys-Jones, now the Countess of Wessex, of course, Sophie, we all love Sophie, don't we? Upon marriage, instead of a dukedom, he was given an earldom. And the one that he liked the creation of was the Earl of Wessex. So since his marriage, I think it was 1999, if my memory serves me correctly, he's been known as the Earl of Wessex. Collectively, their Royal Highnesses, the Earl and Countess of Wessex. And of course, their children. I'm going to talk about James first of all. He has Prince Edward's subsidiary title as a courtesy title. So that's why he is known as James Viscount Seven. Of course, Lady Louise Windsor is known as Lady Louise Windsor, even though the children are entitled to be HRHs and princes and princesses. I know it's confusing, isn't it? But anyway, moving on. So, what do you get Prince Edward for his birthday? Well, you get him a new earldom. And this earldom is... So you can hold 2 earldoms. That's another point I was going to make. You can actually hold 2 earldoms. I think I was given this question months and months ago, and I answered it, and I said, well, yes, you can technically hold two dukedoms. You can also hold two earldoms. So, in the UK, he is known as the Earl of Wessex. This is a Scottish title. So he's been given the Earl of Forfar, spelt Forfar, Forfar. And I think that's how you spell it. Could be a tongue twister if you try and say it really fast. The Earl of try and say the Earl of Forfar 5 times really quickly. I dare you. So yes, a little bit of a tongue twister, but when he's in Scotland, he will be known as the Earl of Forfar, or the Earl and Countess of Forfar, if Sophie is in Scotland. So I think that's really, really nice. So it is classed as an additional title to be used in Scotland. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of information about it. So, let me find what I've got. So, this was published on the 10th of March 2019, and it is an official release from the palace. So it says, the Queen has been pleased to grant the Earl of Wessex the additional title of Earl of Forfar. And it comes along with a list of notes. So it says, the Earl of Wessex is patron of a number of Scottish charitable organisations, such as the Edinburgh International Festival, the National Youth Orchestras of Scotland, and Badminton Scotland. So I think what they're trying to do is kind of establish why he's got a Scottish title, and that is that he has had a lot to do in his adult life with Scotland. So they're just pointing that out. As a trustee of the Duke of Edinburgh's award, His Royal Highness has supported the non-formal education of thousands of young people in Scotland and holds annual Gold Award presentations at the Palace of Holyrood House. And that is, of course, in reference to the Duke of Edinburgh's award, which the Prince has had so much to do with, because obviously he's going to take over that fully once the Duke of Edinburgh, sadly, is no longer with us. In 2014, the Earl was Lord High Commissioner to the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, the Queen's personal representative to the Assembly. Their Royal Highnesses will use the title the Earl and Countess of Forfar when in Scotland. The Earldom of Forfar was created in 1661 and became extinct, which means basically the family line ran out, as a title in 1715. It was a subsidiary title to the Earl of Ormond, and was a title held by the Douglas family. Not anymore! The first Earl of Forfar, 1653 to 1712, was Archibald Douglas. His son, also Archibald Douglas, became the second Earl of Forfar, 1692 to 1715. The second Earl took the title at the age of 20 and died without issue, leaving the earldom, part of the peerage of Scotland, extinct. So there you go. Dinosaurs are not the only things to become extinct. So can titles. Forfar is the county town of Angus, with a population of just over 14,000. It is the principal county town nearest Glamis Castle, the seat of the Earls of Strathmore and Kinghorn. It was this family of which the late Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was part. So it does have family links, and that's what they're pointing out. So of course the Strathmores are the Queen Mother's family, and of course their resident seat in Strathmore was Glamis Castle, and you can actually go and visit Glamis Castle. It's I haven't been, but I know it is a really good experience if you get to go. So what else was I going to say today? Oh yes, where was Edward today? Well, he spent time with his mother and family in Windsor, so he spent the day with the Queen. Now I did have a little bit more information, because one of the things that I pondered was, well, if James Viscount 7 is called James Viscount 7 because of his father's lesser subsidiary title, what would happen if, well, what will happen if there are two earldoms? Could James Viscount 7 take on the subsidiary title of James, Earl of Forfar? Now, I've come to the conclusion I don't think he can, or rather I don't think he will, because your son, if you have a title, as a courtesy title, would usually take on the lesser title. So if you've got two earldoms, one of them isn't more important than the other. They are of equal rank. However, I did find a little bit of information. I've been doing some digging, and it says sometimes the son of a peer can be referred to as a viscount even when he could use a more senior courtesy title, which differs in name from the substantive title. Family tradition plays a role in this. For example, the eldest son of the Marquis of Londonderry is Viscount Castlereagh. I can't quite say that one. It's spelt really weird. It's spelled Castlereagh. You try and say it. Even though the Marquis is also the Earl of Vane. So what it's saying is, even though sorry, what was his name? Even though the Marquis of Londonderry also holds an earldom, his son is still known by the Viscount title, subsidiary title, which is what I'm getting at. We got there in the end. So my conclusion is, I don't think we will see a change in title and style for James because of this double earldom that's been going on. Now I want to see what people are saying in the chat room before we move on. Let me find the chat room. I've got loads of windows open. Where is my chat room? Aha, I found it. I'm going to go back up a little bit and read some comments. So let's have a look. Lots of people saying happy birthday to His Royal Highness. Dan says no purpose today for an earl other than as a property owner. There is no need necessarily for any titles these days. It's just nice if you've got one. I wouldn't say no. Do they get paid for each title? No. Although some of the older titles do come with land, for example, the Duke of Northumberland and all that kind of thing. But the ones in the royal family tend not to. Yes, I agree, Sugar Sweet. The Queen does give the best gifts. Jeff thinks Prince Edward is spoiled. It's his party, you can cry if he wants to. Live, Love and Laugh says, so on top of that, he'll also be the Duke of Edinburgh. Yes, and he does not have to give up his 2 earldoms when he becomes a duke. So he'll be a duke and a double earldom and a viscount. Yes, so he will have lots of titles. Oh, okay, Gordy Mac is correcting me. I am so sorry. It is pronounced, apparently, Forfar. There we go. So it's not Forfar, it's Forfar. Well, try saying Forfar 5 times. I stand corrected. It's pronounced Forfar, even though it's spelt Forfar. Mary Brunn says, well, Jeff, he's the youngest, and you know what they say about the youngest sibling. Guess royal family is no different. And if you're an only child. And saying nothing. Yes. Well, Sophie also, actually, the title of Viscount 7 was given to Sophie. Well, wasn't given to Sophie. It was given to Edward on kind of with reference to Sophie because she has heritage near the River Severn, which is why Viscount 7 was used. Just a little fact, I also live very near the River Severn. Auntie D's organised randomness says so. Am I to assume he died without issue means didn't have a child? Yes. The second Earl of Forfar did not have a child to pass the title onto, therefore it reverted back to the Scottish peerage. Until now, when it has been gifted by the Queen. Vala Dina says, all these titles are so confusing to me. It's a minefield of confusion, I have to say. Black Aristo says, I'm coming into this chat late when it seems that he received another earldom. You are correct. I am thrilled to hear this. I love the Wessexes. They are wonderful supporters of Her Majesty. God bless them. They are indeed. Doesn't the Dukedom of Edinburgh have a subsidiary title? I do believe it does. But we haven't heard about those being passed on. So I'm assuming that those titles may be kind of ripped apart from the Duke of Edinburgh title, and I think it may be only the Duke of Edinburgh title that is passed on, because it's not an automatic inheritance. It's not as if Prince Philip has written it into his will and it gets passed on. It always has to revert back to the crown. So, for example, if Prince Philip were to die before the Queen, all of his titles would go back to the crown. In other words, go back to the Queen. Then the Queen could give them out to whomever she pleases. So, all of the Duke's subsidiary titles, the Queen may not bestow on anyone. They may, which I think is probably likely, just stay with the crown until next they are given out as a main or a subsidiary title. But the Duke of Edinburgh, she will grant back to Edward. If it's Charles on the throne when this happens, I mean, it's a situation that could happen, then it's anticipated that Charles will be the one to give Edward that title. But either way, Edward is earmarked for that title. Okay, the Live, Love and Laugh says, will James and Louise become Prince and Princess when their dad becomes Duke of Edinburgh? No, not necessarily. Basically, Edward and Sophie refused, or rather declined, agreed with the Queen not to give them their birthright, which is HRH or Prince and Princess. So from birth, Lady Louise and James Viscount Severn could have been styled HRH or Prince or Princess of Wessex. However, with the agreement of the Queen, they declined. But I am of the belief that it is still their birthright. No laws or rules were changed. They just haven't been styled that. So, when they get to a certain age, I'm not quite sure what the age is, it could be 16, it could be 18, they could potentially take up their own birthright themselves if they wanted to. It would be entirely up to them, I think, as an individual. Mary Brunn says, will there ever be another Duke of Windsor? It's possible because the title was created, therefore that title has reverted back to the crown as well, and it is within the Queen's gift to be given out. But at the moment, I think there are still too many negative connotations with that title, but it still could be given out. It is, of course, the House of Windsor, which makes it quite a good sounding title to have, I think. So who knows? Maybe George may grant that title when he is king. Maybe. I don't know. Leah says, why is Edward getting the Edinburgh title instead of Andrew? Because Andrew already is a duke. He's already the Duke of York, which is a very high title, high in regard title within the royal ranks. So that's why. Could I say which title Prince Edward got? Yes, he got the Earl of Forfar. It's a tongue twister. Spelled Forfar, but pronounced Forfar, as in you are. We'll get there. Jeremiah says, why can't I have Ireland back? You'll have to ask Theresa May. But I think she's got her hands tied at the moment. She's a little bit busy. So your query may have to take a back seat. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're fine. Now, there was something else I wanted to read as well regarding the Earl. So I wanted to read some of the royal family birthday tweets. So this is from the royal family Twitter, actually. It says, it's talking more about the work he does. So the Earl of Wessex supports the Queen in her official duties and carries out a busy schedule of engagements for his charities and patronages, from the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, otherwise known as the D of E, to the Commonwealth Games. And also there was an announcement that their Royal Highnesses will use the title of the Earl and Countess of Forfar when in Scotland, which is what we've already spoken about. And they posted some lovely photographs of the Queen and Edward as a baby. So yes, I think it's really lovely that he's got a secondary title to use in Scotland. Was it necessary? No, but it is his birthday, and what do you get? The man who's got everything. Yes, Charles is the Duke of Cornwall. Or rather, he holds the Duchy of Cornwall, which does come with land and money and wealth. And of course, the Duchy of Cornwall does generate a lot of money, which of course he uses to fund well, the profits of it he uses to fund his family's activity, which includes William and Catherine and Harry and Meghan and the Duchess of Cornwall and his own engagements as well. Live, Love and Laugh says, I have a strong feeling Harry will also decline His Royal Highness for their child. Harry strikes me as a guy who craves a life close to normal, especially for his kids. Well, on that, I mean, we don't know what Harry and Meghan are going to do privately with regards to their stance on titles. However, what we do know is the rules that are in place at the moment, which until Charles is king, they will not. Any baby Sussex will not be a HRH or a prince or princess unless the Queen changes those rules. But of course, when Charles becomes king, they will get HRH or prince or princess, unless, of course, Meghan or Harry, as you said, choose to decline. It is entirely, I suppose, up to them. But by birthright, they will be HRH or prince or princess, unless declined once Charles is king. Yes, the Wessexes do live at Bagshot Park, which, if you look it up, it is a huge, sprawling mansion. It's huge. I mean, seriously, it is massive. It looks gorgeous. It really does. In fact, it's probably one of the better looking royal homes, I would say, like private type homes. Any news on Frogmore Cottage? No, I'm afraid not. We are still none the wiser. Anna Raji says, does that mean that Diana was the Duchess of Cornwall when she was married to Charles? It does indeed, because that was one of his secondary titles. Oh, Linda P. Golden has donated $2. Who says, cuppa on me for all your work on the channel. Thank you so much for your very kind donation. You get... Ooh, that was a big fan flap. You get a big fan flap. Thank you so much. Beverly says, I am very happy about this second earldom for Edward, and I really hope that Louise and James use their birthright titles, and that they also join their parents in championing charitable titles and working. Personally, I hope they do too. I think Lady Louise would be a great princess, a great ambassador for Britain, actually. I really do. So, I hope she does. I hope she decides that that's what she wants when the time comes. Will Lady Louise be considered a working royal when she gets older? It's unlikely. I mean, we're still hoping that Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie will get a working title role. So I think let's start with them first. Let's hope that they get a role first. If there is enough work going around, maybe. But I highly doubt it. But it can't hurt to have an extra princess, or prince in James's case, on hand. I'm not really into the slimmed down monarchy thing, am I? Not really. Rising Rhapsody says, what is higher in royal ranks, dukes, duchesses, or princes and princesses? Well, you can be a prince or a princess and a duke. So it doesn't really outrank. They're kind of two separate things, but in terms of peerages, it's a duke, a marquis, then an earl, then a viscount, then a baron, I do believe. And I think I've got that in the right order. Annette just wants to share some royal info. You found out today that Queen Charlotte was born in 1744 on May the 19th. Harry and Meghan were married on May the 19th. That's 274 years difference. Harry said it was in the stars. That's a lovely bit of information. I didn't realise that was actually her birthday. And of course, Queen Charlotte was instrumental in the formation of Frogmore as well, including, obviously, the buildings, including Frogmore Cottage. I agree, Sandra. It seems that Lady Louise is close to her grandfather. That is lovely for both. Gregory C says, I don't like the slim down either. I don't like it, I'm sorry. Maybe lots of people do like it, but I don't. I like a nice big fat royal family, and I'm not talking waistlines. I like a massive royal family with princes and princesses and dukes and earls and marquises everywhere. Everywhere. Give them all earldoms. Give me one while you're at it. Um, Candice says, I agree. I am not really in favour of the slimmed down monarchy either. Perhaps that will change when William is on the throne. Oh, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Beverly says, as the Queen's cousins age, it will likely become necessary for the next generation, Beatrice, Eugenie, Louise, and James, to become involved. I personally agree. I think there is a need for them. I think there is plenty of charities and organisations which need a royal patronage. So I would love to see them be a working royal. I really would. R. Moore says, even though they are likely to reject the HRH for their children, I hope that both Harry... Well, hang on a minute. I don't think it is likely, to be quite honest. But anyway, just for the extra protection for their children, considering what is out there, I think they will not deny anything. Let's put it this way. If the Queen is offering you something, and you are in, I suppose, the immediate, in the key part of the monarchy, you're not on the peripherals, you're in the key line, and of course Harry and Meghan are, because they've been given very important Commonwealth roles which will secure their place in the monarchy, rather their position and their influence well into the future, in fact for the rest of their lifetimes. If you are offered in that circumstance, I don't think you will deny. HSH says, yes, you're right about the list of precedents, because people often forget about the Marquise, or Marquise. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it. Marquess. Marquise. Marquise is what I've always said. Yes, May the 19th, what a prolific day, was the execution of Anne Boleyn. Black Aristo also does not like the streamlined royal family. I agree, plenty of work to do. And thank you to Opal Jones for the claps. Martin Khan says, I would love the Earldom of Tyrone and my wife would love to be a countess. Wouldn't we all? Wasn't Tyrone a rebel? I think he was a rebel. Was he a rebel? I'm trying to remember my Irish history. I think he was a rebel. He was something to do with war. Plumbird says, I hope the Sussexes are allowed to give their children the HRH status at birth. I worry that with the popularity of their parents, they will need the status as protection, which is what someone else has already said as well. Arnold is probably quite right. William may be king in his 60s. Kelly Branch says, do most British want the monarchy streamlined? What's the general feeling? That is very hard to tell, because we have, as with most things, a lot of people who object to things speak very, very loudly. So we have a few people out there, the anti-monarchists, the ones that would like republic, who would scream from the rooftop that they would like a slimmed down monarchy to the point of there not being one at all. But in terms of knowing what the true feeling of the populace is, I don't believe I haven't heard of a poll with that question being asked. However, polls are regularly put out about the popularity of the monarchy, and although there have been peaks and troughs, at the moment the popularity is still riding high. So I don't think anyone's in favour of voting a republic anytime soon. But it is hard to tell about the public feeling with a slimmed down monarchy. Plumbird says, I think it is strange to have a princess or a prince or a princess working a regular job with co-workers. That is true. Lois says, my live chat has been over for about 20 minutes or more. Well, it was just a basic piece of news, but I think we've worked it into a nice little chit-chat, haven't we? Oh, I have a donation from Leah, who's donated 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much for your kind donation. Of course, you get a fan flap. Thank you so much. Can you still see my tiara, or has the camera kind of gone a bit lower? Hang on. There we go. I want my tiara to be seen. It has to be seen to be believed. Sweet Trendy says, love your shirt. It's flamingos. If you can't see, it's flamingos. Candy says, anti-monarchists annoy me. It's an honour to live in a country that has a queen. Well, of course I would agree with that one. Pat says, what does Charles want in terms of limited working royals? That is very hard to say. But we do know that what the core is, which of course will be Charles, Camilla, William, Catherine, William and Catherine's children, and of course Harry and Meghan, and possibly their children, but I don't know in terms of going on into the future. Who knows? But I would love to see Beatrice and Eugenie and James and of course Louise involved in that too. Beverly says, this has been one of my favourite live chats. And Sweet Serenity says, wow, thank you so much for everyone who has joined. And I am going to go now because we have spoken about, I think, quite widely the topic of this conversation. However, it is nearly 9:25 in the UK PM. So I want to go and have a cup of tea. I want to relax. I want to watch some TV. And then I will attend the premiere of my weekly vlog. Which, if you go on my main page on my channel, you will see the weekly vlog. Click on it, set the reminder, and it will tell you what time, or rather how long you have to wait. But it should be around about 3 hours. So do go to that video, click on it, and watch it. If you're watching this on catch up and the weekly vlog is already live, then please go and watch it and show your support. I am sharing with you my nighttime routine, which is how I get this to look like this. It's very difficult, no Botox involved. And I will be sowing some seeds. So, in my greenhouse, with Brian in the background, so don't miss it. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. Hit that notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. And also, please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah!